Hi, I'm Jeffrey McCombs from the Law Office of Jeffrey McCombs in Arlington, Texas. Today what I wanted to do was do a quick video on how to calculate child support using the guidelines promulgated by the Texas legislature. I need to first say this is not the end-all be-all, and we're going to just limit this to what the guidelines say. Every order, either divorce decree or order that has child support involved or children involved, where there typically would be child support, is required to have a statement on the findings of the net resources for the child support. That's under section 154.130 of the Family Code. There has to be something in there. If you deviate, that's great, but we're just going to limit that to another video, another time, another consultation, something else. We're just going to talk about what the plain vanilla using the guidelines are. The first thing we do is we need to go and use the tax charts put out by the Attorney General's office. That's found on their website. There's a tax chart for employed people. There's a tax chart for self-employed people. And what we're going to use at that point is you're going to look at what the gross income is, and then you're going to subtract how much the obligor pays for health insurance. And that's just the health insurance for the child. So if it's $1,400 a month is what this person makes, and he's paying $100 for the children's health insurance, and those are just numbers I just pulled out of the air, he would calculate his gross income as $1,300. And from there, you would use the tax chart to go find out what the net resources are. And when we come to net resources, there's very, very few things that aren't calculated in net. One of the most frequently comments I get is, well, I heard you can't put overtime in. Yes, you can. You put in very, very, very few things are exempt from that. And that's going to be another video as well. There's a list of it that's spelled out in the Family Code. Okay, once you've calculated your net resources after getting your annualized gross, breaking it down per month, and then using the tax chart to get your net, what you would do then is you would look at how many children we're paying child support for. The guidelines require that the first child that you have before the court is 20% of your net. The second child would raise that to 25%. The third child would be 25%, and so on and so forth up until you reach 40%. And that's just if there's no other children and prior orders anywhere else. There are another guidelines for multiple family that adjust these. Take, for example, if there's this child is before the court where you're trying to figure out the guidelines and you're already paying child support for one other child, instead of being 20%, it'd be 17.5%. If there were two other children who the obligor was paying support for, it would be 16 for just this one child. And there's a chart out there that does the percentages for you, and it's really just doing math after this. That's all I'm going to get into on this. This can get as complicated as it needs to be. This could be as simple as it needs to be. Just need to let everyone know that there is pretty much so no way getting around it in Texas. If you think that you're having that second job and you're just not going to tell your spouse, and if the Attorney General's involved with this, they're just going to look at what the Texas Workforce Commission uses for when your employer reports that income. All right, hope you liked the video, and